We are on the screen, and today we've got some interesting topics.
I'm excited.
So basically what my overall goal here is to basically make it so at least one of us is somewhat out of the loop between each one in terms of topics. That way, at least one person is on top of it, and the other is kind of having to think on the spot. Kind of impulsory responses, you know?
Ooh.
So the topics today were suggested by Chicho, by YieldTomato.
Hey.
I'm excited.
And he said it was somewhat controversial, and I agreed with him, and I thought about it for a second. I'm like, actually, this could be a really good topic. And that's going to be video game ports to mobile phones.
Ooh. Okay.
So this is, and the only, I got started thinking about this a little bit more because I realized there were actually a couple that I tried to play, and then I stopped. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Now, Chicho, explain yourself, if you will, in terms of your overall thoughts on video game ports to mobile phones.
So here's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't know statistics, like hardcore numbers, like hard, solid data to work with, but from my perspective, it seems like the vast majority of gamers kind of stick their nose up to mobile gaming.
You're super right,
Blizzard announcing Diablo Immortal, you know what I mean?
That was
obviously
funny.
the devs could have handled that whole situation better.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, it's like, for me, I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer my whole life on various platforms, and I see mobile gaming as another platform that can be enjoyed just like any other platform. And I feel like I'm a minority when I have that opinion.
But that's fine, because you know what? Everyone's entitled to their thoughts on that subject, and gaming is gaming regardless of what you're using to do it.
Right.
I agree.
Thank you. So, and it's one of those things where, like, if we're talking about ports specifically, which is what the topic is,
yep.
You know, people would say, why would you play that on your phone when you can play that on the console it was released on? But, like, let's take Sonic the Hedgehog, for example. Why on earth would you play that on your phone? You could play it on your Sega Genesis. Like, well, I can't carry my Sega Genesis in my pocket.
So,
also, not everyone has a Sega Genesis that they can play it on.
Yeah.
And not everyone can emulate or, you know, if something's ported to another console, like something that's cross-platform to Xbox One, PS4, and Steam, some people don't have those.
Well,
right, and
there's actually a handheld port. I'm not talking Game Gear, of the original Sonic the Hedgehog for the Game Boy Advance. That's absolutely god awful. So, like, it baffles the mind how bad that port is. But then you get other things that play incredibly well, such as the mobile phone port that we're speaking of on Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's not like they're bad. It's just that there's this negative stigma about gaming on your mobile phone.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the stigma, and I think that, I think part of it is because so many people view devices like that as Candy Crush and you know, things like that. And so if you're gaming on your mobile device, it's just like, oh, well, I've got a PC or a PS4 and I can do that better, which isn't very fair because not everybody has those. And I don't know, like I played the Phoenix Wright games on the DS, but the HD collection I have on my iPad, and
really?
I had on my iPod Touch before I sold it, but I have it on my iPad, and there's a mobile game called the Layton Brothers Mystery Room, and it's fantastic. I think it's like $8 for the whole game, or maybe $10, and I wished they'd charged me more because of how good of an experience I got from it.
Wow.
And it's not technically a port, but like I think also part of the argument is how much care goes into the port, because I hate the mobile port and like subsequently the Steam port for Final Fantasy VI. But the one for 5 is incredible.
Oh man, I hate what they did to the art for those. I'm speaking of mobile ports. It's very relevant to the topic because I hate the fact that they went through the trouble of making the adjustments to the sprites because in a lot of cases, I would say that a gel pen kind of art style could look really nice. But it literally looks like they just had someone trace the sprites with the gel pen, but left everything else alone.
Yeah, and especially in like a lot of the cave areas, you can see that they touched up like the way the torches look, and then the area around the torches, like the light that it gives off, but they didn't actually touch up any of the cave textures. So it just looks like a new sprite on an old texture. And one of my least favorite examples, or maybe my favorite example, is the fact that when you leave Narshi, or Narsh, however you guys pronounce it, the snow has no more shading or texture on it, and it just looks like a white void.
Oh, that's weird.
It's so bizarre. I'll see if I can find a picture for you. But at the same time, if that's the only way that somebody can experience that game, I love Final Fantasy VI, and I would definitely say find another way to experience it if you can. But if mobile's the only way you can, then do it. But that's just because it's the quality of the port.
Right.
If the Sonic one, Jackie and you are saying it's so good, it's so well done, then who cares how it's being played?
Well, it's like they basically just said, we're going to do a good emulator for Sega and put it on the app stores and, basically have the emulator with each game and sell them independent. And it works. I mean, who's to argue with it? There's so many Sega games that got ported that way. Yeah, see? Wow, I don't even realize there was being a black line at all. I just recall it being completely... Yeah.
Well, because especially when you look at the one I just sent with Locke in the picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can barely see the black outline, but look at that snow. It looks like it didn't load.
It looks...
It's really bad. It is really bad.
Bizarre.
It's like they picked a color and they keyed it out, and that's what you're left with. Is like a carryover. Like, oh, I mean, what was here was kind of the color you keyed.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I'm going to send another one here.
See, that's a great example of the whole pen gel effect. Because, I mean, it just looks like someone's art on a piece of paper, but then you've got these other elements that just don't feel like they fit in with what's going on.
Yeah, and the background and like the tree branch there in the front and the rocks between the snow.
Yeah.
They still like the tonality of it is so it's kind of bleak almost, and then the snow is just like, hey, we're bright white. And I am an artist. I am an art major, so you're going to hear a lot about color theory and stuff from me if we get on this, but
that's perfectly fine, because you know what? I am surrounded by artists.
Yay! Hi, Jackie!
Oh, she's sitting over there prepping something. Oh, hi. There you go.
But yeah, so when you see, this is something we actually learned a lot of, was when you're trying to make things set the right tone, like even the colors in the Magitech armor almost look like they're drawn from the background and then brightened a bit, but the snow is just stark white. It doesn't draw from anything, and it just looks so obscenely out of place. It just looks terrible.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's part of the issue that, the general feeling of like the stigma against mobile ports might not be the fact that it's on mobile, but it's just what they do to the port itself once they put it on mobile.
That's a valid point there. I mean, if it had just been a straight up port, people wouldn't have probably shat on it like at all, because it would have just been a Super Nintendo ROM more or less with some altered controls.
Yeah, and I think having bad ports and then things like Overwatch on mobile, which are like battery suckers.
Hold on, Overwatch is on mobile?
I believe that they put it on mobile. Overwatch.
Like, I know they did Fortnite, but
keyboard typing intensifies.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah, I got the same thing.
It's by Tencent.
Well, to be fair,
they
do all right. I've played PUBG Mobile, and that's actually somewhat enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I know that there's been a lot of controversy surrounding them, but
rightfully so, as far as I'm aware.
yeah, but so something like that when people are trying so hard to be like Diablo on mobile and Overwatch on mobile, and they're trying so hard to push these mobile things, but then so many of them fail, and then people are like, oh well, mobile ports aren't good, mobile games aren't good, or mobile games are only for those filthy casuals or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Bite me.
I know. Again, I have games on my mobile device and on my tablet that I love and honestly have no other way to play. I mean, I could bust out my Phoenix Wright games on the DS, but I only have 2 of them, whereas now I have the whole HD collection.
Ooh.
And it's one of those things, like, I mean, I still have my 3DS, and for a while, I was really getting into playing, like, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, but I wanted to use the adapter on my 3DS, so I had a second joystick, and that beast I couldn't put in my pocket because that adapter is like huge.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, okay, I'm at the point now, or like technology's at the point now where it's like you can have a phone that the specs on it are good enough. If they put that game on there, it could run it. And so it's like I got to a point where, I had some classic ports on mobile, but then there's some games I want to play on my 3DS. But it's like, gosh, okay, for the work day, when I'm going to work or when I'm going out and about, do I really want to carry 2 things in my pocket simultaneously? Like, I'd rather, if I have to have one thing, if I had to choose, I'm not going to leave my phone at home. So I take my phone with me and leave my 3DS at home. So, like, extended trips away from home, like on a vacation or somewhere for the weekend, obviously I'd bring my 3DS with me. But just like for my day-to-day stuff now, it's like I just don't feel the need to have that. I still have it, but not with me at all times. But my phone, it's like, hey, my games are there, my social media, my video content, like everything, it's all there. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's effectively a computer.
Right.
With awesome emulators on it.
Exactly.
True.
Well, legal and maybe not so much.
Less than legal.
It's debatable. You own it in some regard. You paid for it once.
Right. Yeah. So I paid for the phone. I mean,
yeah.
I feel fine torrenting Final Fantasy VI because I own the Super Nintendo cartridge.
That's Final Fantasy 3.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
But I also have it in 6 in Japanese.
I just want to throw something out there that's not pertinent to ports per se, but it's something that's always bugged me. And as I was reading on things in preparation for tonight, I came across the thing that always bugged me, and it just made me more mad. So, or madder, I should say. I don't know, proper grammar, whatever. So I was looking at some games that have been ported to mobile, and I'm reading this article. It's like, our top 15 choices for mobile ports. I'm like, okay, well, I'll see what the internet thinks, And I'm reading it, and they put Final Fantasy on there just like as a series. But they didn't just say the Final Fantasy franchise. Like, no, like the header says Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, but not 8. And it's just like, why have they not put 8 on mobile? Like, I'm always flabbergasted. Why? Like, for the longest time, there was no port other than just, there's PlayStation and PC, and obviously, like, the Sony but PlayStation Store. But it's like, still, like, mobile, like 8. It's like the bastard child of Final Fantasy games. It's just, my heart hurts. So I just want to talk about Final Fantasy 8, just to throw that out there.
No, I'm with you on that. I actually just bought the remaster on my Switch because I love that game so much.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's totally justifiable too, because it's like 7 and I think 9, have ports to mobile phone, but 8, oddly enough, does not. So it's just one of those things where it's like, this begs the question. It's like, is there actually a thing we can do to?
I'm gonna petition Square.
Oh gosh!
Is there some means of popularity contest that we can start to get things that have been done before, but port them, like Parasite Eve, which, being a turn-based game, could work on a mobile device. I think that turn-based games in general, like those old RPGs can very easily and successfully be ported to mobile phone just because of their pick up, go, and stop, capabilities, especially with the rest modes that all these phones have, where you can leave them on and in your pocket forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So those we're highlighting things that have worked well, but then obviously something a little more difficult to play like GTA, which I haven't purchased myself and played it on mobile, but I've messed around with it enough to know that it's kind of weird because there's just so much to do, like turning and aiming at the same time and running, and like you don't have the dual joysticks and face buttons, like the whole idea of getting your thumbs and index fingers on your screen at the same time. It's kind of I mean, they're really good. I mean, they're good ports, like the graphics and everything. They hold up well, but just for me personally, it's like I can get used to it. But having played through those for so long with a controller, it's hard to. It would be hard to switch over, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, and especially that's actually one of my bigger peeves on a lot of these mobile versions is the fact that they put all the controls as touch buttons on the screen, which are then obscuring your view of the screen because you're sticking your hand in front of it. So that's a big peeve of mine, but also specifically because it shows up on here, I wanted to note I'm looking at the San Andreas port for Apple OS, and they specifically note that it is only supported for the iPhone 4S, 5, 5S, 5C, 6, 6S, 6S Plus, SE, 7, 7 Plus, and that's where it stops for the phones. So if you have an 8, it's not officially supported.
Interesting. I wonder what changed that made them... did they just decide not to support it anymore, or is there
I don't know. I mean, they start listing a bunch of the iPads, and even specifically, it only is supported by the 6th generation of iPod Touch. Now, they're not saying that it won't work. It's just saying that it's officially supported on those devices. So if I have a 5th gen iPod Touch, it might work. And if it does, good for me. But they're not telling you that it will work on it. So I find that very bizarre because, especially when you look at the number of phones we're on at this point, we're on the iPhone 11. It's like, so if Jackie with her iPhone 11 wanted to download this game, it's not officially supported, so it might not work.
Which, I don't know, that kind of seems weird to, especially from Apple, their phones are pretty reliable, and if it works on for one person and somebody else has the same model, why wouldn't it work on that one? So it's like to have a whole hey, no guarantees here type thing.
Exactly.
I don't know. But that's probably less to do with Apple and more to do with
Rockstar.
Rockstar then, right?
Exactly. So. And that's kind of another thing is another reason why I'm not a fan of mobile ports in a general sense is because sometimes they also add new features that literally lock you to having to be connected to a server. And this big example for me that I'm going to draw off of is you guys are familiar with the Tales franchise, right?
I've never played it, but I am familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. So they actually ported the PlayStation version of Tales of Fantasia to iOS. And they had a system which I thought was neat, which is they give you the option to purchase additional in-game items with real currency. The option. So basically, they didn't adjust any of the drop rates, any of the purchase rates, anything monetary-wise within the game. They just gave you the option to purchase more than what you could with what you've earned in the game. The problem with that was they tied the entire game's function to their server. So when they took the server down, the game was useless.
Oh, gosh.
Now, mind you, it was free to play, but there are a number of games like that that are not. That's not the case, where you have to pay to get it, and then if you if they decide to take down the server or not update it, then you're screwed and you can't use it anymore.
Right. And at that point it's I think it has less to do with what you spent on it, but it's like what the time that you've invested in it. And then it's like, oh, well, all that time I invested to like do all these things, I can't access that anymore. Like it's just gone.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because I downloaded the Tales of Fantasia because it's like, oh, neat, a way to play this just randomly on the go. It's a RPG, and I can just between battles, blah blah blah, and download it, start playing it, and then they announce the server shut down. I'm like, well, okay.
Did you guys play any of the Final Fantasy Airborne Brigade?
Airborne Brigade, no.
So on the one hand, it is not one that you could play without. I mean, you could play without paying, but you definitely got the short end of the stick if you did. So it was pretty bullshit, but I went ahead and played it without paying anything for the entire time that it was live.
Nice.
But there were literally, like you were saying, this wasn't a port though, so I guess I'm slightly off topic here. But
it still plays in with the whole server system, which is my biggest
pay to play, pay to win type thing.
Yeah. So there were different, it was really neat, and you got to customize your character, and you got to level up, and it was really fun. And they had group events, because you play the whole thing solo, but then they would have group events where you could join in these huge boss battles, and when you went to go do this boss battle, it would assign you to a team, and whoever's team beat the boss first got these huge prizes, and then the other team would get a slightly lesser prize, so you still got something for playing, I believe. And it was really fun, but there were chocobo missions where you could send off chocobos to try and get you prizes or what have you, and it was really fun and really exciting. And if you paid actual money to get the better greens to feed the chocobos, you would get better. I did always. I don't know. I think it might have been rigged because I did always win, but I don't think that was because I did anything. It literally just. I don't know. It was always yay, your team won. And I feel like they just told everyone that because there's no way to verify.
Right. You can't actually fact check this.
Oh, yeah, please do. But you could pay real money and it would give you the better greens that you literally could not get in game.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, wow. And then you had a random chance to get one of the higher or the better things if you sent just a regular chocobo off to do or to get these things, but it was never it was a 0.1%, I'm sure.
Oh, geez, yeah.
But people were putting real life money into this game, and then one day they just announced that the servers were now offline and nobody could play anymore. And I was literally to anybody who paid money, and I made sure I didn't because I was pissed that you had to pay money to play. And I'm more likely to play a mobile game or any game that doesn't make you pay to get the better stuff, which is why the Kingdom Hearts mobile game, you didn't have to pay to get the really good stuff. So I was more enticed to give them my money.
Yeah, it's because you don't feel like you're being, throttled or hung out to dry over it. It's you can, but you don't have to. But you should, but we're not going to make you.
Yeah, we would really love it if you did, but all the things that you could buy in the Kingdom Hearts mobile game, you could also earn by playing the game.
Yep.
And I never felt I never felt like I had to do it or the game was unfair if I didn't. And so until I got really, really tired of it, I think I probably gave them $10 or $15. But after a while it just got repetitive and I was like, okay, let's go. But yeah, the Final Fantasy Airborne Brigade shut down and I was pretty bummed. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to see if I still have the screenshot of my character.
Just, I don't think. Jackie, you tried. I don't have the Discord up at all times. I was actually searching the App Store to list the things that the GTA game worked on specifically. So I come back and I just see you tried. Gold star.
So you're telling me the guy with 2 monitors doesn't have Discord up simultaneously with this other stuff?
And not while I'm recording this, no.
I'm just teasing.
You can tease all you want. I'll get a 3rd monitor, you SOB.
I mean, okay.
I'll mount it to my other monitor. I'll create a little office.
I want to bring it back to what Brandon had said earlier, though, about ports where the controls are all on screen, and how you kind of found that to be a nuisance. I just want to throw out there that some games, well, one that I know of, actually make the image smaller on the game itself, so that way the controls are like on the edges, but they're not blocking what you're seeing on the screen.
See, that's kind of gross, though, because you're already looking at a small screen, so why would you make it smaller?
And I definitely am sympathetic to how you feel about that. They did that with the Final Fantasy VII port, and I'm like,
did they really?
Why?
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, you could, if I remember right, I'd have to pull it up, and I have it on my phone right now, but I'm not going to. I think you can change the opacity of the controls.
Oh,
so
okay.
And it's like, okay, well, why didn't you just make it full screen and do that, so that way I could have the opacity really low to be less invasive, and yet I have a fuller picture. It might have to do with the fact of the aspect ratio of the game as well, but it's like there should be an option on there to zoom, at least when I'm not in combat, just so I can have, that. I'm not going to say immersion, it's on a freaking phone, but you know what I mean? Like, to just use the real estate that I have. So, and one last thing from me on this is, I think subconsciously, if I tap into the recesses of my mind, I think the reason why I want to defend the legitimacy of mobile gaming is because years ago there was a Final Fantasy VII game that came out on mobile. It's called Before Crisis.
Yes.
And this was back in the days of where
flip phones,
right? And I had a cheap track phone that could not play it, and I was like, if only I had a phone, I could play this game. And so now I'm an adult with money that can have a phone that can play games, and so now I just feel like I'm fulfilling a childhood fantasy of playing games on my phone.
A childhood Final Fantasy.
That's right. Registered trademark. So yeah,
right.
Totally. That's got to be it. I think I didn't even have to go to a psychologist to figure that out. I just had to talk about it with you guys.
Well, I'm glad that we could help you through that crisis.
Thank you.
Sadly, it wasn't before.
The picture I sent is when I got the notice that Airborne Brigade was going offline, and that was January 20. There's a lot of numbers here. I believe it's January 12th, 2015 is when I got that notice.
Wow. I never even knew about that one.
Yeah, I played the crap out of this, but it's just so cute. Like, I had my little Highwind airship, which had the lady on it.
I was going to say, I'm trying to see it.
Just click on Open Original and click the picture, and it's huge.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is way much bigger. Yes. Okay.
Hey, you got the Highwind. Isn't that Sid's in FF7?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then I was a pink Dark Knight.
You were the pink knight.
But you could and my weapon was a harp, apparently. But you could change your class, you could change your look, and it was super fun. And somewhere in here, it had the level that I was, but it was like level 650. Like, the game went on for so long, and they didn't have any kind of a level cap. So yeah, it sure was a thing.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I had so much fun with it, but I did always have this little bit of bitterness in my heart towards it, because I knew going in that I wasn't going to get the really cool prizes, because I wasn't going to pay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also,
yes, that is Team Rocket's Jesse. No, you know who that was?
What?
That's Shira.
Yeah.
He painted her on the side of his ship before he made another ship and named it after her.
Yeah, because in Advent Children, he had the Shira.
Yep. I'll give you the Grand Tour afterwards. I've like memorized that movie at this point. And then they put the frickin' holodeck from Cosmo Canyon. They just took it from Bugenhagen and shoved it into the ship, and you get to see that.
It's like, I'll take this.
It's a thing though. You can look it up because you actually go into that in Dirge of Cerberus.
I've never played Dirge of Cerberus.
I watched Brandon play that like 10 minutes, I think. I think I played it a little bit, actually.
Yeah, you did a little bit. So I would defend that game a little bit because I actually had fun with it, but I would also shit on it. Because
Sorry, Jackie.
Oh, geez.
I'll play it, I promise. You know what? Hang on, I have to go check my shelf. Me talking about how I have all the Final Fantasies. I don't think I have Dirge of Cerberus.
Well, I know you don't have Before Crisis.
Oh, wait. There it is. Dirge of Cerberus right next to Crisis Core and Advent Children.
Criminy,
I have it, Jackie. Settle down.
Don't worry, I will get a mechanical keyboard.
I remember
too.
that came out and my PlayStation 2 was broken, so I couldn't play it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is not broken, but I still haven't played Dirge of Cerberus.
See, I can't fault you for
my
that.
PS2
though.
actually is it's not the first PS2 I got. The first one I got was actually missing half of its insides and would not start. It would just turn the fan on and do nothing.
Hello? Okay, there we go. My mic was doing weird things. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I can hear myself.
Apparently, there's going to be a spin-off of Dirge of Cerberus for mobile.
Yay!
Wait, not that there will be, but there was back in 2006.
There was a Resident Evil Degeneration game for mobile also.
So, on that note, I own that.
Oh, really?
I can't play it because they have refused to update the firmware on the game, so it will not work on current OS.
Ah.
Did I finally delete it off my phone? Nope, I did not. I'm a screen cap.
Nice.
I'm screen capping it as proof that I have it. I'm sending it to the Discord right now.
But my PS2 still works, and it has the Battlefront 2 skins on it that were an EB Games pre-order exclusive.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Really pretty looking.
Oh, my file is too powerful. That's what it says. Apparently, it's more than 8 megabytes.
It's too powerful.
That's... Oh, compressed it. There, go. Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Right next to my
Oh
Castlevania.
my gosh, look at it.
I did play it. It looks...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It looks really bad.
I saw
look at the thumbnail for it compared to the other apps.
Yeah.
Like if you zoom in,
It's not like... Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, okay, so it also is super compressed because my phone told me that the file size was too large when I just screen capped. I don't know. But
No. I mean, like, if I open the original file that you just uploaded, then zooming in on those apps, like the picture they have for each app is like way higher resolution than the Resident Evil one and Castlevania.
Right. So this is also still kind of relevant regardless because Resident Evil 4 got a mobile porn. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
Different topic, different day.
What's going on? I think I missed a beat in the conversation here.
Right. I can words. I have best of words. Over 9,000 words even, Jackie. It got a mobile phone port, and Degeneration actually uses the same overall game system for how it runs. And the neat thing about Degeneration, the phone game that I liked, was that they actually included tyrants a la Code Veronica.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was kind of a neat thing when I played it. I wish that it, and I guess it was only... I wish that it also had come to Android, So that way there would be an APK file out there and I could still play it on an Android. But it didn't. It was exclusively an Apple's game, and you did have to pay for it. So...
Oh my god.
So I am burnt by that, but I'm not burnt by a huge margin. I think it was like $11 or something like that.
Your mic really is having issues.
What?
So your mic really is having issues.
Son of a biscuit.
At least on my end, it keeps cutting in and out.
Okay, well, maybe it's the port.
Leon's
Port.
like, how dare you?
Port.
Yeah, the porn. I'm not going to live that down now. Yes, there's porn of it, I'm sure, because Rule 34 or 43 or whatever, 69. Resident Earl.
Why isn't Jackie just in this conversation? Like, get a headset.
So she's like not far away from me. She could, but I think she's having too much fun just being the silent mod.
Mm-hmm.
I would have fun just being like a shit poster also.
Yeah. I'm linking this to her Twitter just so
With
everybody
great
gets
power
to see it.
comes great responsibility.
And now watch, she's gonna say, "Don't you dare." Nope, she didn't. It what her do. It what she do. All right, I agree. But yeah, no. It just comes down to the quality of the ports. Yeah. Resident Evil 4 was a very not good port, but at the same time, the phones and the iPods and all that, they really just were not capable of doing, that kind of thing. Because, I mean, at the time, you're looking at, like, well, the PS2 era. And now we've got PS2s in our pockets and then some when it comes to this. So they're running these things with ease. I'm actually surprised that Capcom hasn't reported Resident Evil 4 to mobile phones, in all honesty.
Dude.
I'd buy it.
Just wait.
I'd buy it.
Well,
I'd do it.
Just give it time. Like, I mean, for example, I don't know if either of you have looked at it, but just one more thing before we move on. So, like, have you guys seen Asus, like, their gaming phone?
I think I've seen something on it,
Republic
but I haven't
of
seen
Gamers.
it
Yeah,
recently.
it's called the ROG phone. They actually have a second model, ROG phone 2. I mean, the thing has, like, a cooling vent on it and, like, RGB lighting, like, logo on the back of it. And there's, like, you can get not a dock. Well, actually, yeah, you can dock it to TV.
Okay,
like,
I think
hook
I
it up to
have
a monitor.
seen this, yeah.
Yeah, but like it's got like a controller, and you can like set it in there, and it becomes like a 3DS because you have a second screen. So it's like, for me personally, that's way too many accessories for a phone. Like, in my mind, like, it's still a phone, but I like the idea of, like, they're trying to push the limits of, like, hey, you need to start thinking outside the box when it comes to mobile gaming. Like, these little computers are gonna get pretty powerful. I mean, you think of the Switch, right? The Switch is a little too big to put in a pocket, but the Switch Lite, I don't know, I haven't had my hands on that, but
I actually had a Switch Lite before I got my Animal Crossing Switch.
okay. And how did it compare to your phone as far as, like, portability?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it was.
Okay.
It was,
Yeah.
That
I
becomes
loved
the
it.
pocket.
Right.
Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was really neat. It had I mean, you can't dock it, you can't play it on TV, and so therefore you can't play any of the motion games, but I'm not busting out my, Just Dance. So it didn't bother me. I put 100 hours to Fire Emblem on it before I actually got my my Animal Crossing one.
Respectable.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, like I really liked it, and I thought it was a really good system, and it did me really well, and I probably wouldn't have gotten rid of it if I hadn't been able to get my hands on the Animal Crossing one. It's literally the only reason that I don't have my Switch anymore.
Oh, gotcha. But I mean, like,
but in comparison to a phone, it is still, like, my phone was probably just hang on, let me compare. So my phone screen is bigger than my Switch screen, at least like the visual part of it that you can actually, like, see the game on. So the Switch Lite was smaller than that. Like, it had a bit of a smaller screen, but it doesn't have the portability. I couldn't just put it in my back pocket and be like, I'm on the go now.
right.
I was going to say, is your phone a tablet? My God.
Yeah.
I
But
picked
see,
up
if
my
you look
phone,
at
I'm like,
the
geez.
if you look at the history of Nintendo and their consoles, like think of the size of the 64, right? At least the footprint of it. It was pretty short, but then the GameCube took up a lot less space, even though it was taller.
Right.
But then like compare like the Wii to the Switch. Like it's like every console they come out with gets smaller. I'm not factoring in the Wii U, which had the separate handheld, but yeah, just get some cargo pants. You could put a PlayStation 3 original in your pocket.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
but-
next time I come over, Chicho, I'm gonna bring the biggest pair of pants I got.
Ooh, say it again. Okay.
Next time I come over,
Whoa.
bring the biggest pair of pants I got.
Do I need to leave? Like,
no,
should I mute?
No, by all means, stay. I like when people watch.
So anyway,
She's just like, we're done with this.
I have a point here. I think I'm stuck on Brandon's pants.
Is the point in your
You're
pants?
stuck on Brandon's pants.
Whoa.
Heyo. Hey.
What's happening?
So anyway, of a phone, like a large phone, isn't that far off from a Switch, even though Switch is still significantly larger because the controllers on the either side. But the idea is, going into the future, phones aren't going to become less powerful. And there's likely going to be manufacturers out there making phones a little on the larger size. Like it's like a miniature tablet, basically. So the potential for gaming to get better on mobile, I think it's there.
Sure.
I'm just asking my fellow gamers to give it a chance because some of us like the idea of having decent games on our phone.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put it out there. There's not a lot I wouldn't do for a really good Lufia port, and I don't care to what system. I want a Lufia port and Lufia 2. I don't care about the rest of them, but 1 and 2 I really want.
They remade Lufia 2 for the DS.
I didn't hear good things about it though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, maybe it's fantastic, but I don't know. I just want my old my nostalgia.
Right. The
SNES.
nostalgia goggles, they are thick.
Yeah, especially when it comes because I really want to replay. I haven't played those games almost literally since we had a Super Nintendo, and I just have such fond memories, especially Rise of the Sinistrals. So good, and I'd really love to re-experience them.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised Natsume hasn't done more ports to mobile because of how simple, realistically, it is to do. Especially when you have, these publication rights, and I'm sure they're still valid. Otherwise, they would probably have seen new entries by now. So it's one of those things where we should, but we don't.
Fun fact: I looked up Lufia because I knew of the game, but I had never played any of the titles. However, so Lufia was rated. What do you think it was rated? Without looking.
Ooh, was it teen?
Wait, hold on. Which one are we talking about?
Let's stick with Lufia 2 since that's the one that Liz was talking about.
Okay, SNES.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna guess E or K through A, depending on.
Tell me it had a mature rating. I'm gonna guess teen.
No, I was trying to get one past you guys, and Brandon caught on to it. He said K through A.
Yes.
So the K through A rating got dropped in 1998, and they just switched over to E for everyone.
Yes. I'm so happy I got that.
Screw you, Brandon. In your big pants.
Yes. They fit. And they fit many things, including my Switch. And my Wii.
All right.
And your Wii. Okay. So, mobile ports said that I said my piece. I'm happy now.
Well, that's good because honestly, I think we covered some good ground there. I mean, there's a lot of I mean, there's so much more that could be said about them, but I don't think we should spend more than the 45 minutes we have on it if we can help it.
Just really quick, if podcasts were a thing 20 years ago, we would be talking about games on calculators.
Yeah, Doom on my graphing calculator. Duh. It's a thing. Look it up. Anyway, so the next one we're going to move on to is one that at first I was like, oh, that's an odd one, but okay, no. And then I started thinking more. I'm like, actually, no. There's a lot of good ones for this, and that is favorite NPC characters. Now, I feel like I know that Liz is already going to say Jessie.
My predictability is showing.
If only because of times.
I just connected the dots. I can't talk. Anyway.
Yeah, no joke. So Chicho, did you specifically though, before I go into more detail or more questioning, we're not gonna include like focal villains or anything like that, because honestly, that's a topic all on its own. But like any like maybe sub character that's just in the background, or someone who gives you quests regularly, or someone that's prevalent but you never really do a whole lot with. Their like Zelda, for example, could be considered one. With the exception being the Phantom Hourglass, I think. No, Spirit Tracks, where she's actually playable.
And Breath of the Wild 2, if my dreams come true.
You mean when? That dream is happening.
Well, here's the thing, that stipulation about not including mainline villains, I kind of already picked a guy, but I can not talk about him.
I would say save it, because again, we can discuss favorite villains another time, because NPC kind of implies like, oh, the shopkeep, or oh, this one character in this one quest in Fallout or something. Whereas when someone says, no one thinks villains when you think NPC. Generally, they think those little guys on the side.
Yeah, the people in the towns that you talk to, and they say the same 2 lines of dialogue.
Oh, exactly, yeah. Or like the Greybeards in Skyrim.
Like if you could compare it to a movie, it'd be like the supporting actor or actress.
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let you use Wesker or Sephiroth or any of that. Or Ultimecia or Dean Sid.
So who wants to go first then?
Okay, so we can't use like major villains, or we can?
I would prefer not, just because that can be a discussion point all on its own.
Okay, so you are looking more like the characters in the towns, or like things like that.
Exactly, yeah. And I've actually got one. I just need to look up the name of the character because it's been a while.
Okay. Well, you explain it while I think, and I'll try and see if I can help you.
Well, DLC for Skyrim, it was Dawnguard. I'm trying to remember the character's name. Voiced by Laura Bailey.
I've never played Skyrim, so I'm not going to be any.
Holy crap!
That's fine.
The only reason is because I know that I would 100% lose my life to it. It's the same reason I don't play Final Fantasy XIV.
That's fair.
Because I know that I would never emerge from it.
I go on binges with that game.
Yeah.
I really do.
Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy XII are probably the 2 games and that I've put the most time into. Oh, and Mass Effect 2. Because those are the ones that have broken 100 hours. And that's like my record. I put 125 hours into Final Fantasy XII. I've put probably 180 hours into Mass Effect 2. And Fire Emblem, I'm sitting at 120. So that's like...
This is not on topic for favorite NPCs. I mean, it could be, but can I ask Liz, who did you pick for your romance in Mass Effect 2?
It's actually like a complicated story, and it depends on if you go with my Renegade or my Paragon Shepherd.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes. Well. Paragon is the easy one. I romance Kelly.
Which one?
And then Kelly, the yeoman.
Okay.
And then her romance is continuable in Mass Effect 3, but you don't get the Paramour achievement for continuing her romance in 3. And also, I have a weird amount of knowledge of Mass Effect, by the way.
That's fine.
You can also romance other people and Kelly in Mass Effect 3. My Renegade run between 2 and 3 was an adventure. because it was Jacob in 2, which is really bizarre. I didn't expect it. I was going in expecting to romance Thane, but it was Jacob and then Caden in 3. Because I like Caden. I'm one of the few that actually likes Caden.
I kill Caden every time.
He's a wet blanket, I know, but
I respect that. I like his voice actor. So.
I met him, actually. I have a picture
what?
with him. Yeah, he's super nice. He actually, so it was at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was the last day of the convention, and I didn't have the money for an autograph and a photo with him, so I paid to have to get a photo with him. Mm-hmm. And then we went, I said, thank you so much. He's super chill. And then he thanked me because all of the money that he makes from like autographs and photos and stuff, he actually donates to a green charity. So he thanked me for it and then signed a photo for me anyway.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah. So I actually have it framed, but I couldn't read his handwriting. And he said all the best. And I thought it said all the butt. And I was like, am I being insulted right now? I don't know what's going on.
No, I think he was hitting on you.
But my friend's mom was a secretary and could translate for me. And she's like, it says all the best. And I was like, okay, I feel better about it. But let me see if I can find that photo. I also met the girl that did the face model and mocap for Samara.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, I went to San Diego Comic-Con for many years. I met Steve Bloom. I'm going to just brag about that one. Okay, I'm done. Anyway, we can continue on about the Skyrim and NPCs.
Okay,
Sorry,
well, I found the character. I'm going to send everybody a link once I can reach. Yes, thank you for re-showing the meme, Chicho.
You're welcome.
I
love that meme too. Didn't I show you that meme, Chicho?
Me?
No, Brandon showed it to me originally. I had it saved on my computer.
Okay, yeah, because I still have that on my phone. I love that. Because someone just drew pretty, like the prettiest looking guy here. I'm like, yes, good. Okay, so I was thinking Serena, or however it's pronounced. I like her character arc as a whole, because it's like a pseudo rebellion against her father, who basically is trying to destroy everybody that she can. See, there you go. Rub it in.
He also said it was his last Caden print. I don't know if that's true, but
I wouldn't believe it simply because nobody likes Caden.
Aww.
No, I know, but yeah, I really liked not only the character for Serena, but I also have I fixate on voices for voice actors for some reason. I don't know why. So it's like I can kind of tell a lot of the character, like who they are. Like I could tell that with Laura Bailey without even trying, because she's not even trying to change her voice. Yes,
Laura Bailey is one that I have really learned to pick up on. She has become, she is still incredibly versatile, but I'm like, I know enough of her vocal inflections that I can tell. Well, yeah. Except I totally thought that she had voiced Jill in the RE3 make, and because the girl who voices her has some Laura Bailey inflections, and I was like, I think that's her, and then I was like, no, they've been going with like general unknowns.
Yeah, but to be fair, the unknowns are doing well, so
yeah, they're doing so great.
So yeah, I can't really complain about that. But in Dawnguard, this DLC so you could actually become either a werewolf or a vampire in the base game of Skyrim. However, becoming a vampire was stupid because everybody immediately knew all the time and always hated you because you could always visibly be seen as a vampire. And if you didn't feast on an individual within 4 days, you would become feral looking and everyone would immediately attack you on sight. And also you couldn't ever go outside during the day because it would just start burning you. Whereas a werewolf, you could literally transform at will, and they only hunted you when you transformed in front of other people. So, there was really, it's like, well, if you want to become one of these things to get this skill, there's really no trade-off. Dawnguard and her quest made it so the vampires had a super transformation of sorts that really kind of evened out that overall scale. And I thought that was a really neat thing they did.
Well said.
And
I did not play the Dawn Guard DLC, even though I have it.
I don't know who that is.
You just straight up met Samara.
Oh, sorry, Jackie. Jackie's in the chat, and I don't know who she's talking about.
It's like an oasis for an old man like me. What?
I honestly thought it was going to say
the
it's
woman
always
saying that. What?
Hey, you don't know?
Yes, you do. It says woman for the space bubble.
Well, there's man and woman. So
I will throw something at you. I will throw this plate so hard it'll travel 3 hours and hit you in the face.
No. The person's not wrong. They're saying it's always relaxing to come here. It's like an oasis for an old man like me. So there might be an old man that's like her.
You're wrong.
You're giving it way too
You're
much
trying
credit.
way too hard. It's bad translation.
I mean,
stop rubbing it in.
Good, bad. Steve Blum.
Okay, I lied. Keep rubbing it in.
Okay, I know we're supposed to be talking about NPCs, and Brandon, you said your piece. That's great. But now I got to ask Liz a question because she was talking about Emmy too. So I just got to know. So you know a lot about Mass Effect, so you probably know about the indoctrination theory.
Yes.
Okay, so actually, maybe we should say this for a topic. So the fact that you know about it is great. I will put that in my back pocket.
There you go.
Okay.
See? Stay on topic. Then we can have more topics for later.
Hey, while we're talking about weird things like this, Chicho, since you also love Final Fantasy VIII so much, have you seen the Squall is Dead theory?
I recently stumbled upon it, and I refused to read it until I finished the game again because I bought it on the Switch.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
It is one of those ones where even if you don't buy into it, which I don't think there's a reason to, it is one of the most well thought out gaming theories, and I am in love with the idea of it. I just think that it's so neat. I found it a few years ago and was like, my mind was blown, and now I want to replay the game with that idea of it in mind.
Yeah.
But we can put that on the back burner for maybe after we've all replayed Final Fantasy VIII down the road.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay, so my go was Serena for an NPC. At least this is just one of them. It's the one that came to mind most forefront of my mind, but I'm sure there are others. So anyone else got a pick?
Well, yeah, I wanted to go. I mean, I got something I want to talk about. An NPC that betrayed me. Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Are you okay?
I'm going to build this up. Like, he nurtured me, was there for me, basically treated me as his own, and just totally stabbed me in the back at the end of it all. And I'm talking about Big Smoke in San Andreas.
Yeah, I was thinking for a second, hold on. Yeah, he totally does a 180 on you. Honestly, he's not the main villain yet, so it works. You can definitely go with it. Because he's a supporting character throughout a nice chunk of the game.
Yeah, he was totally like a father figure in San Andreas.
Yeah.
Like
he's like a number 6 with extra cheese, a number 7, 4 number 3s.
Yeah, like
I love that scene. I'm sorry.
He thinks he's like full of wisdom, and he's like trying to share his insights with you, and then he turns bad. So this is like as a young kid playing San Andreas, that was like the first time where there was like a betrayal in a video game, and I was sincerely pissed. I was like, no, you can't do that. We had a thing. Like,
you can't do me that way, Big Smoke. You can't.
So yeah, Big Smoke. Also, I want to give a shout out to Tingle from Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
Hey, now he's playable. He has his own game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Don't. Never mind. It doesn't.
I'm gonna guess Hyrule Warriors.
Nope.
He really doesn't have his own game. Stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This isn't. It's like no. We don't talk about that.
I wouldn't say favorite as in like I actually enjoy him. It's just like he's like one of the ones I remember the most because it's just how annoying I found him to be.
Thank you, Jackie, for talking about the thing we're not supposed to talk about.
Do I even want to look that up?
You can.
It sounds like an app for a phone.
Don't give them any ideas. Because remember, they'll charge you more to get the premium pass in Mario Kart for your phone than they will to play online with your Switch.
Okay, lastly, one of my favorite NPCs is Garrus from Mass Effect.
Yay!
He was my buddy, my chum. Like I loved having him in my party and everything because I loved all of the dialogue options you could have with him that you wouldn't get if he wasn't in your party. Yeah.
Did you play Dude Shepherd?
Yeah.
So you you didn't have flexibility and he had reach?
Right. They both just had reach. So so my wife, Carissa, played through, as FemShep and she picked Garrus. And I would have too.
Aww.
So it was, yeah. Thane is really cool.
Thane.
It's sad that he ended up being terminally ill, but whatever. Garrus.
Character development and growth.
Yeah.
Thane is the first time, like Morden got me, but Thane is the first time I legitimately like cried in Mass Effect. Like
yeah.
I had to take a second. I had tears on my whole face. I gave me a headache because I was crying so hard. I didn't even romance him, but I was so attached to him. And then when he died and his son was there and they were given I was like, I'm not okay. I'm not good.
Yeah, Morden really got me too, actually, just because it's like he was a good party member because he had just hilarious quirks. But then, because he always talked. But then when you knew he wasn't coming back and he knew it too, he was silent. And it's like, you're driving this home really hard and I don't like it.
Yeah, Jackie, just so you know, Thane tells you right when you meet him in Mass Effect 2 that he is terminally ill. Like, it's not a secret.
Yeah, they're very upfront about that, actually.
He just tells you, he's like, I have this thing, it will kill me, so I'll help you while I can. And then you just, like, choose to forget that as you play, because you're like, he can die.
Yeah, he's basically like, I got nothing to lose, so sure. I'm going soon anyway, might as well go out with a bang.
So he's wonderful, and I love him. They're really good, Jackie. I love these games. I'll play them with you. I have an encyclopedic Mass Effect memory.
No,
it's weird.
No.
Between it and Borderlands, I just know weird amounts. Like, considering I don't talk about them very much, like I have a weird amount of knowledge of them.
So, just an honorable mention for NPCs. I was gonna talk about Claptrap, but I'll just throw that out there. That he was like this. For some reason, he reminded me of like a mechanical SpongeBob.
I love Claptrap.
Claptrap's a good one. I like Shooty McFace.
Yes. You know who I love? I love Torg.
Yeah.
Dude, Mr. Torg is awesome.
It doesn't also help that, by the way, I met his voice actor.
What?
He comes to our local convention here, though. Like, he loves the Idaho convention so much that him and Quentin Flynn, who play Reno in 7, at least Advent Children.
Yes, and Axel in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, he comes here a lot.
And Raiden!
Oh, I've never played Metal Gear.
Well, so... okay.
But we have a whole bunch of really good voice actors that come here because it's such a small, chill convention that they're like, I don't have to worry about like having security around me because everyone here is really cool for the most part. And so, yeah, Mr. Torg's voice actor wished me a happy birthday a couple of years ago because we're friends on Facebook.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I would love to pay him to leave a personal note on my voicemail.
As Mr. Torg.
Yeah.
I'll get in touch with him.
So
I'll hit him up.
on that note, so there's a couple of things. One, I have not had met much interaction with them, but I have spoken towards DC Douglas, who voices Wesker, and Legion from Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Legion's such a cool character too.
And
Legion.
what I did is I basically I messaged him saying, my wife has given me permission to name the next cat we get Albert Whisker.
My sister's boyfriend also he came up with Albert Whiskers, and he was like, I'm never going to get a cat, so you can have that name.
Yeah, DC Douglas was like, yeah, that's good. I'm down. I approve. So that was neat. But on that same note, Chicho, we went to high school with someone who is now a professional VA.
That's very true. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Michelle's really doing really good.
She is. I'm
California.
like super excited for her. She her first playable character role was in Trails of Cold Steel 3. But she's doing voices in Sword Art Online and a bunch of. She's also a voice in Phantasy Star Online 2. She's an NPC in that.
You're gone, Brandon.
Hello?
Bye, Brandon. There you are.
And now you're back.
I'm going to swap cables.
Do it.
Should I?
If you want to. It sounded like I was daring you to do something terrible.
Do it.
Do it.
Actually. Well, that's not the right chord, so that's not going to happen right now. The hunt has begun. And it's quickly ended because I don't want to move. Oh, wait.
Okay, another NPC, sorry. And then this is the last NPC I'm going to talk about. And then we're done. Or I'm done. I'm done sharing.
I was like, I don't get it. That's fine.
Otacon from Metal Gear Solid.
Oh my god. Okay, so I moved my mic around and I will deal with the cord later at this point because it's not cooperating. So, Otacon, I don't know if I agree with because he's so whiny so often.
What?
Dude,
I mean, yeah.
I was going to say, do you even remember the first 2 games?
Chicho, that sounds like a direct insult. Are you going to take that?
Hey, he hooked up with Naomi Hunter.
Yeah, after he hooked up with his own stepmom and caused the death of his own father, technically.
Okay, but that fulfills like half of like...
And then feels guilty about his sister dying.
That's basically just like something straight out of an anime, and he's a big anime buff, so, I mean, he was fulfilling a fantasy of his, so good for him.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes.
See?
Followed by him pissing himself as a cyborg optical camo ninja appears in front of him.
That's the most believable thing. I'm pretty sure I would too.
You would, that's it?
Most believable thing.
I would probably shit my pants too. You'd see my pants would turn brown. It's terrifying. If you like crazy over the top stories, I highly recommend the Metal Gear series.
Sorry,
I know. I just noticed it cut out. I highly recommend the Metal Gear series if you like crazy over the top BS.
Well, I have the collection on PS3, so I can play it. I just haven't. This is like kind of the story of my life right now. I just bought 5 new games that I actually need to try and play before I start buying more games.
The struggle is real. We have 1,654 games.
Oh, Jesus. On Steam, I have 290.
I'm not counting Steam. I'm counting physical.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one of my friends met David Hayter and played laser tag with him.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah, since Jackie posted that. It was him and I think Robin Atkin Downs. It was a solid versus liquid laser tag battle. Because those are the voices of Liquid and Solid Snake. And it was in the Portland area, and I was so freaking mad that I was so mad I couldn't get out to that. Because it's like, I would have loved to play laser tag with them. But yeah, so that's fifth degree of separation, whatever number.
There you go.
So, Liz, who's your favorite NPC?
I have never thought about this, at least not in depth. So I have one that I was able to come up with while you guys were talking. Let me pull him back up. I'm sure that I could probably think of others because like a ton of the Phoenix Wright characters. I love the dumb
Gumshoe?
Oh, I love Gumshoe, but I was gonna say the really dumb, like in the
No, Chicho, you get out of here with that. Sorry.
I believe it's the second game when you meet Eeny Miny and Meeny Miny or Mimi Miny.
Gosh.
And Eeny Miny just is the absolute dumbest blonde sounding, and she's like, Lake, and I'm echoing so bad.
I'm sure some of that's my fault, but I'm also adjusting my mic occasionally to try and minimize it.
Okay. Anyway, she's like got such a good Valley Girl kind of like dumb blonde thing to her, and then she's just I don't know. I recommend playing the games if you haven't. She's pretty actually awful, but I love her.
Who's the character?
Eeny Miny. She's the one whose sister died in a car accident, and she goes to try and channel the spirit of her sister to, to find out who her killer is. But you find out that they're trying to frame Maya.
Hold on a second. I thought you were talking about Animal Crossing. What?
Oh no, Phoenix Wright.
Okay, I was like, you're like Animal Crossing.
You're what like, what happened in Animal Crossing?
Oh gosh,
there's a lot of weird murder that happens in Animal Crossing.
It's a really dark game.
Eeny Miny.
Okay.
Eeny Miny, I love her and I hate her. There's also a character named April May.
Yes, I was gonna say April May is the one that I think of from the first game, right?
Awful.
Yeah, she's like this super cutesy, oh, I couldn't do anything wrong, but then you point out something wrong and she freaks her shit. It is great.
I also love how she distracts the judge by bouncing her boobs.
So good.
I'm going to see if I can find a gif of that. But I'm really bummed out because I don't like how they the voice that they gave her in the anime. Because instead of making her sound like a Valley Girl, which is how I would have written her, she just sounds like, oh, I'm so dumb. And I'm like, you just sound like you're trying to like seduce anybody in your vicinity. And I don't know.
So you mean like what, if anything, April May? Or no, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, not Eeny Meeny or Eeny Miny.
Well, I think both of them should have had like bouncy belly, like
yeah,
like,
that's exactly how I read it, was like that.
Yeah, and then I haven't gotten to Eeny Miny yet. Or maybe it was Eeny Miny that had that voice, not April May. Dude, I don't remember. I haven't watched the anime in a couple of years. So anyway, I love a lot of the Phoenix Wright characters. There's also a character in the third game who's a chef, and I have been trying desperately to convince my friend Dane to cosplay him. I can't remember his name. I hope I can find him. He's fantastic.
Gene Armstrong? Oh my god.
Yes! That's it.
Chef and owner of Très Bien.
Yes, I could not remember his name. Oh, I love him. Phoenix Wright has such good NPCs and such good side characters. I love so many of them. Without having more time to think of other side characters, I'm going to say this kid, one of my favorite side characters of all time. He's got dreams that we can all aspire to.
God damn it.
I'm going to be a blitzball.
Boy, howdy, kid.
Wait, isn't that no, never mind. For a second I was like, oh, is that when Titus has his flashbacks and he sees Jack as a young kid? But that's not.
Nope.
I also hope that he became a blitz.
Kid, you're a smart one, so I bet you'll do great.
When I was making my blitzball, I took a picture on my Instagram of the pieces of it before I put it together, and I had that caption below it. I can find it.
It is.
Yeah.
I just put that mental image together of like
Liz.
Huh?
Liz. Hold on a second. Liz.
What?
I'm
What?
uploading something.
the kid successfully became a bliss ball.
And then
That's pretty spot on to what I was imagining in my head. The only difference was the eggs were opened and not in their bags.
Yeah. Well, and then this is what it became.
Success.
Yay! I did
That's
it.
awesome.
I did it. Yay.
I did it. So that's without having more time to think on it. Those I think are some of my favorite NPCs.
My
Nice.
favorite NPC was a blitzball.
What other games have I played?
Well, honestly, I had a really hard time thinking about that too. And then I started just looking at games I have been playing. I'm like, oh, geez, when you say favorite NPC, there are so many in so many games to choose from.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
There's an obvious one in the Secret of Mana games that I think people often forget.
The what games?
Secret of Mana.
Oh, who?
The dancing innkeep.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I have to find this picture.
He's always doing a great little jig.
When I went to Pacific Media Expo ages ago, and it was 2004, and there was somebody dressed up as Randy and the dancing innkeeper.
Dude, yes.
And I had to get a picture.
Yes, that dude.
Yes.
I could see.
This was actually a controversy when the remake came out because he didn't dance when the remake came out. So they actually patched in him dancing. Also, that's amazing, and I love it.
So good, right? Who you said Secret of Mana NPC, and it made me think of an NPC different. Oh no, never mind. He's playable. I was gonna go with an Illusion of Gaia reference, but he's playable.
Yeah,
Never mind.
That's the thing. It's NPCs generally aren't memorable, but it's this innkeep. Nah, he's the winner.
Yeah, I'm marrying him.
No,
it's
happening.
I've decided it right now. Yeah, I'm not joking.
So is it going to be a body pillow with him on it, or are you going to call up Square and?
Yeah, I'll find a cosplayer. I don't know.
There you go.
Just both. I'm going to call up Square and ask them to officiate me marrying this body pillow. It's happening.
Yeah, I'll be like that one person who insisted to be married to one of the My Little Ponies and was doing takedown notices on dirty fan art.
Now, that being said, we all know you would actually be marrying Jessie.
I'd what?
That you'd be marrying Jessie.
I know. I would. I need to know when they're coming out with her so I can purchase it all, every single bit of it.
I need all.
I gotta ask one question pertaining to the Final Fantasy VII remake, even though this doesn't tie into NPCs.
No,
I guess it actually does. It does. I just want to know, and this is the only thing I want to know. Just yes or no.
Okay.
Yes or no. Biggs, Wedge, Jesse, do they die like they did in the original?
No. But also yes.
No.
No, don't say no and yes, just yeah. So they don't, or
That's
at least
not
they haven't.
possible because you're asking about 3 different characters.
Okay, but no.
Okay, fine. Okay, but yeah, okay. So if you can't say yes because there's 3 names in there, fine. I don't want to narrow it down.
Oh my god, I'm gonna send you a message, Brandon, because I have a theory. Where are you?
I know. I have thoughts on this too, but spoiler cast is not happening today.
Hang on, I have a picture. How do I send you a private message? Where are you?
You got to click on the little Discord face at the top and then find him on your friends list.
I don't know. Are we friends?
Yeah, we're friends. I mean, I thought we were friends.
You unfriended me.
I did? When? Where?
No,
what happened?
You didn't. I'm just...
Oh, you just keep changing your name.
Yeah, I'm Fairberry now.
Yeah, you're no longer
Jesse's
best girl.
Jesse's girl. Come on. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna actually check it on my phone so it doesn't end up in the actual.
Oh yeah.
Burberry. Oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
Do you think?
So hold on.
You can cut this out of the recording.
No, it's staying in. Just because I don't want to do that, and also they're having a good time in the Discord chat. Clearly.
Yeah. I'm here. Good time. Sorry, I was sidetracked.
Yeah, we're gonna have a nice long chat about that, I'm sure.
So basically, what I'm trying to do right now is just avoid any and all spoilers. If I happen to come across any online when I'm minding my own business, then I am gonna just like come up to Brandon and be like, "Okay, well, since this already got ruined, why don't you go ahead and just spill all the beans?"
So,
but until then,
I'm gonna say this much. I'll say
this
this
is
for
spoiler
take off my headphones.
Spoiler cast.
This is pretty theoretical. What I'm talking about, at least, I think is pretty theoretical, but I feel convinced.
Based on what you showed me, like my response says it. But don't worry, Chicho. What we'll do is we'll just plan around a spoiler cast for that when you come across it and you're just like, that's it. I just need to know now.
Okay.
So when you say I need to know, we will begin.
You should say if, because if there's a glimmer of hope that I can stay away from all the spoilers until I play it.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Because we live in the 21st century. Tippity tap tip tap tip tap tap
Tap, 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 tap.
I'm gonna get a mechanical keyboard and I'll be able to join in.
You should.
I will.
Mhm.
They're really
Watch.
good.
Jackie.
Okay, I had to get that out because I have had a lot of things on my mind. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, anyway,
Yeah,
moving on to maybe the next question.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. So, are there any other NPCs we can think of that stood out that we remember?
I've said my piece. I'm content with my selection.
What about the merchant?
What are you buying?
What are you selling?
I think he's memorable, but I don't think that he's like my favorite.
Yeah,
Also,
I
Jackie,
agree.
are you telling me to stop typing? I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he's memorable, and he's quotable. I think that's the thing. Except every time he goes, "What are you buying?" I always go, "What are you selling?" Just because I'm gonna use his line back at him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I love it. No, yeah, I mean, he's super quotable, and I think that's what everybody loves about him. It's like, stranger, now that's a weapon.
Yeah.
It's like,
Pickup lines to use.
Oh my god. Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Thank you. No, I haven't done it yet, but I need to do it because it's such a simple cosplay and I could pull it off without even trying because I have all the stuff already. Is just being the merchant at a con and actually having on the inside of the trench coat like bagged games just like hanging inside the coat. Be like, what are you buying? And just
I
pull
wonder
it
if you'd
open.
have to register as a vendor to do that.
You see, I would figure not, just because a lot of people do like trading at the convention and meetups. Because I've even done that. I've traded a Guitar Hero controller to somebody out there.
That's true. Did you ever see the video of the one guy who dressed up as the merchant and went to hang out outside a grocery store?
I don't know, maybe, but it's something
Wasn't
Mega
that
64 did.
Mega 64 did that, didn't they?
He had the cops called on him at the end.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's Mega 64.
Yeah. Okay.
They did the same thing for Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
Dressed up as Altair and went around. They do all kinds of stuff in public like that. Have you seen their Final Fantasy VII one?
I might have. Is that the big fight that they...
They do a thing in public and people are walking by and it's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm waiting for my turn. And then at some point they have one of them dressed as Aerith and he just is walking towards the beach and just puts his friend who's dressed as Aerith, who's a dude, on the beach near the water and just walks away and they're recording from the distance and the water just is coming up and starting to hit him because tide's starting to come in and people are looking what? It's so funny.
That's incredible.
Oh, okay, now I gotta find that.
Fun fact, Brandon.
Yes.
The voice actor for the merchant in Resident Evil 4
is also the voice of Leon in Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
Paul Mercier. Dude's weird.
Well, why did I even bother asking? How did you even know that, man? Come on.
I like to imagine he did both voices back to back in the room.
He also did the voice of Leon Kennedy in another Resident Evil title.
Is it Degeneration?
Yep.
No.
Well, also yes.
What?
Yeah, he was the voice in Degeneration.
Oh.
Was it Mercenaries?
Oh, sorry, no, I was looking at video games only, not films.
Oh,
so Dark Side Chronicles.
Yeah, Dark Side, he did the voice.
Oh.
Trying to think, because I had a thing, but it's not that important because I can't remember it. And now I forgot what I was gonna hunt down on the internets. I'm having a day. It's every day.
It's the quarantine life.
Oh my god, yes. How are we surviving? Barely?
I am actually quite an introvert, so being isolated is actually working for me. I like it. We all get to work from home, so the only thing I'm really bummed about is I had just finished setting up my game room. All of our roommates moved out, so it's just me and Leo right now. And I had finished setting up my game room, and I was getting ready to drag my giant ass beanbag chair into the room.
Nice.
This thing is huge. You can easily fit 5 people on it. And I love it. It's so comfortable. And I was like, I'm going to settle in. I'm going to have some blankets and my cat. And my 5-day weekend with Final Fantasy VII is just going to be spent on this beanbag. And then we got the notification a week later that we were all working from home. But that meant moving our tower, our monitors, keyboards, mouse, if you want it, your standing desk, all back to our houses. So I had to set up, I have an L desk for all my regular stuff and my regular setup. But I had to get another desk, and thankfully it's one that I used to use before. And my mom had called me and was like, do you want this? And I was like, hey, I need a desk. But now I'm in a U-shaped desk, and I have no room for the beanbag chair, so now I'm just stuck between desks. And I know, I'm so bummed, but overall, I don't know, I work from home, I live at home, I have a reason to not leave the house. I only just recently started getting a little bit stir crazy, and when I get antsy and stir crazy, I like to just go wander around a store and window shop, and I can't, so I window shop on Amazon.
Oh, that's dangerous because you can just hit send it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty awful, but thankfully the only thing I've binge bought is a new chair, but I needed it also because I have a messed up lower back that I'm trying to get fixed. So I got one with lumbar support that has a massage function in it. It just hasn't gotten here yet. But yeah, I don't know. I'm doing great. I did just go and buy 5 video games though on Steam, so that's kind of where I've been I want to spend money. There we go.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah.
Thankfully, they've all been on sale, so
we've got a negative balance on our credit card because we had to cancel literally every vacation this year. So that's a new thing. They say it's good to carry a balance. Yeah. Did they say anything about a negative one? So, that's an interesting state we're in. But so this is the Mega 64 video. They canceled my job. Yes, they did. I'm sorry, Jackie. So I'm gonna hit go on it just so I can watch it again because I think it's funny as hell. Then I'm gonna turn it down.
Final Fantasy VII.
That's really loud. It's an old video too. This is from like 2016 anymore. So yeah, 4 years old. And yes, I am still recording. You stopped paying attention. Thank you, Jackie. I'm glad. I forgot about the Chocobo race part.
So just some things to keep in mind for on the docket next time around. I definitely want to talk about indoctrination theory, Mass Effect.
Okay. Can we oh, you said you weren't gonna look up this. We could do the whole thing on video game conspiracies.
Oh yeah. Just game theories in general.
Yeah.
I might have to just look it up because I mean I've played Final Fantasy VIII at least.
It is a long read. It is worth it. And I think the website is just like squallisdead.com or something like that. It is a long read, but it is so worth it. Like, I'll reread it before the next recording if you do.
Yeah, I can totally do that. I'm very intrigued.
It's a really, really interesting. And just the things that they, the things that they pull out to like prove their point, so good and so well done. And like again, I don't think that this is like what was ever intended. Just like the whole Renoa is Ultimisia's daughter or whatever, maybe they're the same person. That whole theory, I mean, blatantly has been disproven. But I mean, they're still fun to think about. And the Squall is Dead theory, I read it and was like, my whole life has changed.
Yes, I will post this online. But I can also block this out because I have the technology. So maybe I guess I am going to edit this. Okay, yeah. So I watched the Mega 64 thing again.
Did we have other questions? I liked this.
That was all I had planned. Do you have any others you want to ask, Chicho? You're welcome to contribute further.
Honestly, if I can be frank, I do have to get up early tomorrow, so I'm pretty good with what we've covered.
Fair enough.
Not to be a sourpuss.
Oh, you're not.
Or a Debbie Downer.
I mean, you might be being that, because they do make Little Debbie still. Just a regular puss.
Dude, next time I can come out, I'm going to make you guys some of my homemade pizza rolls.
Oh, dude.
You have intrigued me greatly. And apparently Jackie.
They're actually really easy. But I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I want to make them.
Oh, snap.
Don't Google it.
Don't do it, Jackie. You're not allowed.
Jackie, stop.
She's on her phone right now. Oh, but she's typing in Discord, so that's fine.
Don't do it.
Yay. Okay, I'll make them for
you. We should plan something then. I mean, regardless of if it's not at a convention or otherwise. No meats, please. Okay.
Okay, I can accommodate that. Usually I do have pepperonis in them, but I can do half with and half without.
Sweet.
Don't you ew me. Pepperoni is amazing.
I don't generally care about pepperoni, but when it comes to the pizza rolls, I'm like, they're actually pretty good. I use a really good pepper.
It's a pizza meat. It just is.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to see how quarantine goes and how travel plans go and stuff. I'm still a San Diego Comic-Con here, so now I'm waiting to see if FanX gets canceled because that's the only convention that me and my friend have planned.
Yeah, the thing that bugged me was that we actually, so the Portland show was the very first thing canceled. It's like, but that's in August.
Yeah, Well, and like right now, our local one just got canceled like 2 weeks ago, and it's not until the end of May. But with all of the lockdown orders and everything, we didn't know. But what sucked, I was so mad because we get a lot of repeat guests because again, like Chris Rager and Quentin Flynn like love it here, so they come here pretty often. But this year we were supposed to get Ray Chase and Robbie Damon, which are Noctis and Prompto respectively, but also like Ray Chase was in Nier Automata as Eve, and Robbie Damon also played, I think, Hubert in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Anyway, we were supposed to get them this year, and then our convention got canceled, and I was so bummed because I was like, these are people I was actually super excited to meet. They were new to our convention.
Well, and Prompto's best boy in 15.
Yeah, he's like the only one that I ended up.
It's because he's the only one who has character depth.
Thank you. We can make that a whole other thing. It's just ranting about
well, that's the thing. It's not even a discussion. It's just this is fact.
Yeah. It's just Prompto's the only one who got real fleshing out and a real backstory and anything that resembled character development.
Another PowerPoint rant. This is correct.
Yes. First one for this podcast.
Right. Yeah, no. We should just like make separate casts, separate spoiler cast. Why best boy is this?
There is a video that you should find. I don't remember who does it, but it's called Final Fantasy 15 is a mediocre disappointment. And it sums up so many of my feelings about the game and the points he makes, and like it had all the makings to be a better game. And so it's not like bad, but it also isn't good.
Yeah, it's like one of those, this is forgettable.
Yeah, except I'm so salty over it, I can never forget it.
Yeah.
I just am I'm so pissed at it all the time.
I'm perpetually bored by it, but mad by it.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly it.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think we've had a very invigorating chat, haven't we?
Indeed.
I think so. That was really fun.
Yes, we'll have to get in touch with Miss Liz later and have her pick out a couple of subjects for next time.
Yeah, I'll think of some really good ones. I was also going to mention Leo was interested in being a guest at some point if you guys wanted to have him.
I'm not against it. The more the merrier.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll let him know.
cool.
He and I can even come up with questions together and just see, like, or maybe I'll do it so that he has to be put on the spot too.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
I will need them a little bit in advance for the banners I put at the bottom.
Sure. I will try and have them for you in like 2 weeks at the latest.
Sure. Sounds good.
Cool. Well, then this has been fun, guys. I'll talk to you again in like a month.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey, at least it happens, right? That's the one thing we can all plan on.
What the heck is that?
Chicho, are you playing a game?
Video, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was like, are you playing Warzone without me, you SOB?
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys have a good night and a good month.
Yes,
You
you
too,
as well.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.